Hey everyone, this is Devindra Hardawar from GameSpeak, and I'm here with Quantic Dreams' David Cage. David, thanks for chatting.
Hi.
Cool. So, what was it like showing off Beyond here at the Tribeca Film Festival? This is a first, right, for a game?
Oh yeah, it's the first time a video game is a part of an official selection in a film festival. It was a great pleasure and a great honor to be here, and no, it was just fantastic. I mean, we work on creating bridges between films and games for 16 years, so being here just shows that it's something that becomes true, so it's very exciting.
Did you ever think this would happen, like back in the Indigo Prophecy days?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, it came really as a surprise, even for us, even today, it was a real surprise. I was also really surprised to see the enthusiasm that there is here in the festival and with the audience. This audience was really curious about what we were doing, and there were some gamers in the theater, but there were also just movie buffs. Some people were just curious to see this new form of interactivity, of storytelling. So
I'm wondering, how do you think your growth? How have you grown as a storyteller, as a director, since your last few games? I see a direct progression in skill.
I try to get better at what I'm doing, game after game, but I'm learning. I'm still learning, and when I started, I wanted to probably to make games that were inspired by the films that I liked.
Yeah.
So if you think of Indigo Prophecy or even Heavy Rain in some way. But Heavy Rain was for me a big turning point because it was the first moment where I realized that I could write about things that were more personal. I didn't have to write about superheroes saving the world. I could just write about a father who wanted to save his son and things that were closer to my personal life. And yeah, for me that was really the turning point. I think the difference between Heavy Rain and Beyond is that Heavy Rain still had a lot of references to films, especially in the mood, and it was a dark thriller.
It's very noir at times.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed the detective too looks exactly like a detective from was it the Clive Owen movie?
Yeah, it's possible, but there were a lot of references to films. Where in Beyond we try to create something that is truly original and that doesn't refer directly to anything.
Gotcha. So do you feel more confident now as a storyteller? Like you're doing it more as games, just lifting what you need from movies rather than trying to be more like movies?
It's about confidence, it's about also what I realize on Heavy Rain, that when you talk about something personal, it could make an interesting story, or at least a story that would be appealing to others. And I saw how players responded emotionally to Heavy Rain was absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm always surprised, even tonight. I mean, I don't know how many people jumped at me and saying, "Oh, I played Heavy Rain, really loved it." So you see the emotional response that you can get when you are sincere in your writing, and when you write about something that matters to you, you get the emotional response that goes with that.
So can you talk about like the writing? I think for a story like this, it's very easy to fall into the choose your own adventure type book, and that can be kind of gimmicky. How do you write around that? How do you keep the story pure while giving so many different options?
Well, for me, each moment is unique in the story, so I don't work on mechanics really. Like, I don't have a set of rules that I define at the beginning and then I just use them in the course of my story. It's really like every second of the game I try to reinvent the rules and say, okay, this is the story I want to tell, this is the moment I want to create. What is the best possible way to interact in the scene and to play it and to make something interesting and meaningful? So it's very challenging to write because in each scene you need to reinvent yourselves, but at the same time it creates, I hope, an experience that is really different and unique, that really comes up like a journey where you never know what to expect next.
Gotcha. Would you ever consider directing a film? Because I think at this point I'm seeing a lot of great cinematic technique in the footage we saw.
Honestly, I don't know where I want to go with my career right now, and I never thought about it. Like, I don't have a plan for where I want to be in 5 years or 10 years from now, and I know that making films has never been a goal for me. So I'm not making games in the hope that one day I will make a film. But it's something I may explore at some point, because working with people like Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe has been an amazing experience.
It would actually be less work for you to make a film than for all the stuff you're doing around these massive.
It would be a different work. I'm really cautious about this because I have a lot of respect for cinema. And I know where we are, and I know where the best filmmakers are, and there's a huge gap. And I still feel I have a lot to learn before having something meaningful to say in a film. But yeah, this is something I start thinking about.
Gotcha. So the game is called Beyond Two Souls, and the Two Souls thing is very interesting to me. There seems to be something very metaphysical about it. I'm just kind of outside the game itself. Like, how do you define the soul? Because I think you've thought about this. This character Aiden has to exist from somebody who's thought about how spirit exists in a way.
Well, working on Beyond, I tried to give an explanation to death that was different from the explanations that religions have to give. So I made up my own story around all this and how life and death and souls work. So I don't want to reveal too much now. People will have to play the game to know all this, but yeah, I think my story makes sense in that aspect. I mean, of telling how life and death work together.
Well, I'm just wondering quickly, I know you've talked about games and how a lot of games right now are really focused on shooting. And I know a lot of gamers have really reacted negatively to that. Any response to that? Because honestly, that was one of the things that bothered me about Bioshock Infinite, is that it's a great game, but it really just boils down to shooting.
What is the question?
Thoughts on the gamers? Because it seems almost like gamers are defensive when you bring this up. You can't even approach the topic in a way. And I agree with you. I do think that we need to grow up a bit.
Well, I said what I had to say at DICE. I don't know if I should elaborate on that. The game industry can be very conservative in some ways. So people want more of what they already know. And I believe that games could also explore different directions. And I'm not against shooters, I'm not against all this thing. I mean, there's a market for this, there are people enjoying it, that's fine. I'm just saying, why not exploring different directions? So, we'll see. I mean, this is something happening right now. I mean, whether some people like it or hate it, whether they scream on forums or not, it's happening. So there are different people trying different things, and there are people playing these games. And if you look at the success of different games and how the market evolves right now, you see this. I mean, some gamers become older. They want different types of games.
I think you could look at the success of the Walking Dead games, which are just straight up an adventure game, but very different. And it shows that there's an appetite for something more.
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.